My name is Sodiq Adelakun. I'm a visual storyteller based in Nigeria, but travel around Africa and Europe to tell story about my country, Nigeria, and my continent, Africa. Basically, to be a photographer is not something that I will have seen, I envision to come to reality, but you cannot hide away from your journey and your dream in life. I think photography chose me and storytelling chose me. Because sometimes I'll tell you, I will do some stories, I'll make some pictures, and when I go back to my system, at the first stage of my career, I always think it's luck. I'll look at it and say, I was lucky. Then there was a day I challenged myself. I said I was not lucky. I was putting in so much hard work every day because so many people who are my friends grew up together in school. They see me on the street. They will just say, "Oh, he's a photographer now." He just so they see me and they see me. Sometimes I'm looking dirty because to take a camera to places where people who are wearing suits and you wear a short to go and photograph, they feel like you did not hone up. You are not meant to be in the side or let alone have a talk with people who are on the high side. But I realized that it is the journey I've actually put myself through. It's what God wanted me to do. So all of those things happening together were not luck. It was hard work. It was sleepless night to read to attain to where I am today. But I'm not going to bore you with words. All I've achieved today are contributions from God and from myself and people who have actually seen as mentors. So I want you to appreciate people who are your mentors today because without them, probably some of us will have given up. If you happen not to have anyone, probably you should clap for yourself because you are your own mentor. So basically, yeah, I'm here this morning to talk about the photographer globally shaping our identity. Every one of us, before we leave our house in the morning, no matter how best dressed you wear, the biggest designer you wear, you still look in the mirror if you are okay. You want a good identity for yourself. You don't want people. What if one of your clothes are torn, or probably your there's oil on your clothes? It's the first thing that people are going to see. No matter how great you are, people will look at that stain that is on you. That is how identity crisis is coming. People want to see how you look without considering what you're going to offer. So for a photographer, I'm going to be sharing my presentation, my slides. I'm not a slide person. I prefer to talk from my soul. But I'm just going to show you basically how it is here about the photographer in the space that we are today. Yeah, it's working now. Yeah. So if many of us, when they ask us, who are you? What is a photographer? You just feel like, oh, I'm someone who takes pictures of people and all of that, and they automatically become a photographer. But that is not the role of a photographer. That you are not a photographer yet. If a photographer in today's world, it's people who are like witness to the human race. You are a witness. As a matter of fact, we do not have power. We do not have power over our pictures. The moment you take a picture and it's out there, you do not have power over it anymore because it is subjected to debate by people who are a member of the public. So whatever we do, we are witness of the human race, of the human journey on earth. So that makes you, if what you do not actually follow that path, if you are not doing any of those things, you are not a photographer. You are just taking pictures of things because whatever you record automatically become a material that can be used as an evidence for anything, be it in the court of law or for any judgment whatsoever. So who and what is a photographer should be question we ask ourselves. And you want to tell yourself if being a photographer is enough because you could be a photographer, but are you okay being a photographer? You yourself taking the pictures. If you take pictures of people and you are not actually okay in terms of your mental health is not okay, then you are not a photographer. You are not fit to become a photographer. You have to tell story in such a way that it conforms with your soul. Don't take a picture, make a picture, and at the end of the day, when you get home, all what you've taken or all the stories you've written is a lie, and you can't sleep, and you'll be like, I took a picture and I put a wrong caption because I want to impress the crowd. You are not a photographer. You've actually mixed with history. And you won't escape it because one day something's going to come up and it's going to dig out everything you've done. So being a photographer is the fact that you have to be a witness of human race and what is happening in the world. You do not have to contour or do anything or brush anything. Just photograph it the way you see it, irrespective of whether you like someone in the room or not. Yeah, the power of visual storytelling. As photographers, we have the ability to capture reality and evoke emotions, spark conversation, and shape perspectives. Naturally, we are storytellers, just like we are telling a baby a story. So if you are telling a baby a story, you do not want to lie because the baby is going to question you. It's easy to tell a baby a story, but when you finish the story, there will be question and answer. That is when you realize that you have lied. So as a visual storyteller, you have the power to tell the story in its natural form without changing anything whatsoever. So we should be careful how we tell people's stories because one day we realize that the story we tell about people is going to come and haunt us. So we as visual storytellers, we are shaping the realities of the world day in, day out. Next slide. Yeah, documenting cultural diversity is one of the identity of photographer. As photographers, we showcase traditional practices, cultural heritage, social norms, individual identities. Examples of it are how Nigerian photographers documented the NSAS protest. George showed this documentation of kings of Nigeria, as you have seen in the middle there. And 18 others, we want documentation of It's All in My Head, a visual project on mental health. And my own Sodiq Adelakun's documentation of Afraid to Go to School, talking about how children are afraid to go to school, the mental torture of being kidnapped is affecting them. All of these and several documentation of Ojideba Festival, Durbar Festival, and other festivals in Nigeria. All of these things shape our identity as a country. All of it, because you do not want to be a photographer who is stereotypical. All you do is see bad in everything. Sometimes you should tell stories and balance it. It's just like you have a musician who sing R&B, and another day you listen to rap. Another day you listen to maybe jacks, all of that. You want to have a taste of everything and balance it. That is how photography also is. You don't want to be someone who's just telling the bad side. Look at the good side and explore that. By doing this, you are shaping how you want stories to be perceived by probably by an European person who have not been to Nigeria before or have not been to Africa before. So we should be mindful of how we tell stories because whatever you do is the way you're going to be perceived. I remember that I was in Amsterdam and somebody was looking at an exhibition, a photograph that I did a story, and she has not been to Africa. And the lady was like, wow, the cow roamed around the streets in a country like Nigeria. And, I have a lot of explanation to do to start explaining that this is how it is. At the same time, the person also saw a festival that I photographed, and it was quite similar to the Halloween they do in the European culture. And it was like, wow, this also happened in Africa. I said, yes. So whatever you do there, whatever story you do and you put out, you are putting out an identity of the country you are in. So you want to be careful because when your work goes far, you do not have power over it anymore. The audience are left to see what you are telling. So whatever stories you do, be mindful of how you project it and be sure that you are telling the story responsibly. Global connectivity, like I said, across border cultures and generations to come. All the stories you photograph would be witnessed by people. It might not even be today. The beautiful thing about photography is that you are not photographing for this generation. You are photographing for the next generation. And they will make reference to it, go to libraries and read books about it in the future. I remember 2 years ago, I received a call from a PhD student in China, and he's actually doing a story about, he's doing a research on a story I did 2016, and I was like, why is it so relevant to the lady? But I realized that she's actually been thinking of a project that is very different from every other person, and she chose that story that's the kind of aligned with a story I've done before, and she wanted to do a Q&A with me and know the reason why I've done this story. So whatever stories you do, whatever photograph you've made, is something that we make reference to. So you want to be sure that whatever you're doing is intentional, because there will be questions from people who you might not even know. God might give you the grace to live up to 80 or 90 years, and an 18-year-old will call you one day. A question that you've never ever thought of, and ask you, why did you do it? You don't want to. You might be lost in thought for a while, but it's going to go down your head. Like, it might even be a different question entirely, and the question might even be a follow-up question like, so what did you achieve after it? So for everything you do, you want to be intentional about what you do, because an 18-year-old can just question you, and you realize that you are 90 years old, but probably you might have done it differently. That is the power photography has. It will take you back that memory lane, and you realize that, wow, this is a new generation entirely. What was I thinking? That is the power of photography. So we have so many challenges and responsibilities as photographers. I could remember somebody was asking me, how do children get to understand how to vote in Nigeria and all of that? So when I shared this picture on this end to the person, it was like, wow, because for some places in the north, it's not even allowed for probably a woman to be seen in some places. But because this Sani Makatanga is here, you relate. You as a photographer, you think you want to tell the story, but some people's culture and beliefs won't allow you to do that. And that is why today I encourage a lot of young women to be into photography and art, because if the men cannot go there, let the women go there. The most important thing is that we should tell the story, and we should tell it well. So that is the next slide. Yes, the conclusion. As photographers, we shape our global identity by documenting diversity, influence social narratives, connect the world across borders. Like the previous slide. Can you go to the previous slide? Myself and previous slide, please. Myself, Andrew Isebio, and one other person. Not this one. I think the one that has Megan. Yes, this picture in the middle. We are photographing the visit of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex when they came to Nigeria. And I was in Kaduna, I was in Abuja, and I was in Lagos. All in between the space of like very few time. But you have to jump into, and they are on private jets. But I have to use local airline. But because I've been given the assignment, so somebody now sent me a message in the night that, are you the same person that photographed all this? I said, yes. He said, why are you disappearing to this place? And he said, but no. When they gave me the assignment, they didn't give me the brief to, oh, you have to be there. They only give me that you have to be there. But you know, in life, if you are a striker, you have to score goals. Your coach is not interested in how you score the goals. Just score the goals. Your role is a striker. You can see Cristiano Ronaldo is targeting the fact that you are going to make a cross across him, and it's going to be in the box at the 89th minute, and all he has to do is make sure he jumped up to about number of meters to get the ball in. It is not assumption. It is belief that I will jump. I know the strength of this person. I will jump over him and put my head on the ball and get it into the net. So for me, I have, thank God for good friends. So I have friends who work at the airline. So immediately, and the thing about the brief about working with people who are not from our climb is that they do not give you all the information because of security reasons. They do not give you all the brief. They only give you the brief maybe like two hours or 1 hour before the event. So anytime they give me the brief, I just call my friend, I need a flight. One thing is that they will pay the money, but they don't know how smart you are and how quick you are with it. It's a test. So for me, I've received several assignments about people not giving you direct brief and very quick brief because that is how they work. But it's a test to see how resilient you are. So for me, I have friends, I just call, I need a flight here. So the guy got me the flight. He who is my friend does not even know why I'm booking a flight. And he's not asking me for money. That is why it's good to have good friends. Okay, I've gotten you a flight, it's here. Just like you are you are a CIA, and you see all the CIA guys, they just move. They have like save house everywhere. You as a photographer that is in an advanced stage, you want to be able to deliver and you want to be able to do it. Nobody cares what you do, but people will care if you actually make it to the top, and that is how life is. So for me, I was here making this picture, and the next day I was also in Kaduna, followed by being at the Ikoyi Club. I didn't ever get to know that the Duchess was actually monitoring me, and she was actually seeing me because I have a very small stature. So I think it was very quick for her to notice. So when they were at the Ikoyi Club, and people could not get access to them at a certain point, then she told the security that she allowed me to come. And I was almost like, Mike, how would this person come here? We are making a mistake. So when I got access to her, she said, "Thank you for everything." Apparently, she has a public relation unit in their country there. And they've actually been following my work and picking my work. If you go to Twitter, you just see it. This guy is trying, he's everywhere. So, there's a bad PR for her at that particular time because of the issue they have in the royal family. So they're actually doing a bad PR for her. But me, I'm just doing my job. But fortunately, my work is kind of helping her in such a way that we have not actually met before. It's kind of solving all the problems she has. And when she finished every day, she just check her phone and realized that these images are actually like a quick answer to all the bad PRs that she's getting. So she just told me, "Well done for everything. You are seeing your work. My husband and I appreciate you a lot." So for me, that is a whole lot. It's bigger than money. It shows that my effort is noticed. As a photographer, that's what we should actually look forward to, not about money and everything. Just like Wale has picked this stuff up. For him, it might not be easy, but at the end of the day, when he finishes and he's with Madame, he will say, "Wow, I can't believe I'm able to put this through." That is the power of putting effort in things that you do. So that's like this. So yes, my final thought is that in life, no story is worthy of our lives, but our lives are worthy of a good story. Because when you put your life on the line and try to get a story at all costs, you'll be gone. And you will now be the story that telling. So, no story is worth our lives. But at the same time, our life is worthy of a good story. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sadiq. Thank you. DJ Nomio. Okay. Thank you. It's working, right? Thank you. So just help me clap for Nomio. Right there. Like Sodiq said, it's good to know good people. I just called him. It's another assignment. He left his staff there, and he's here to help us with sound. Please, once again, thank you, brother, for helping us out this morning. Sadiq, thank you for the presentation, and thank you for sharing a bit of yourself with us this morning.
Thank you.
We are witnesses of the human race. The photographer or the creative, the artist, the painter, the sculptor, the poet. We are all witnesses of the human race. Whatever stories that you make, you must tell them respectfully and truthfully. And above all, you must be intentional. You must be intentional in whatever story you're trying to put out. Your efforts might not be noticed by you, but certainly the persons who should notice that effort are noticing it. So don't give up. Keep working. Can I see anybody that has a question? Any hand up for Sadiq? Any question for Sadiq this morning? Ask questions now.
Take the advantage of this opportunity because
the Chinese
just
proverb,
say anything. I like conversations, and
yeah.
You never can know. I actually always feel the best of me when I have a conversation with people. I don't like presentation, like I said earlier. I like conversations so that we can talk like human.
The question, okay, TP. 1, 2, okay, and 3, okay, fine. So TP, introduce yourself and.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, my name is Esosa Omorogwe, and I'm primarily a wedding and a documentary filmmaker. Amazing jobs that I've seen right here. I remember starting out as a photographer some 10 years ago, and I love pictures. so much. But then the environment which I was in, to a great extent, narrowed photography to events. And so most of the times, you're either having to go to a wedding or to a birthday party to cover a shoot, and practically that's where you get the money from. You hardly have somebody wanting to contact you to say, okay, come, document an event for me. And over time, I drifted from having to take pictures to making videos. And since I began shooting videos, I fell in love with it. But then I've always had this deep passion to tell amazing stories. Now, my question is this: how do somebody who probably has no idea about photography get into the journey of having to tell amazing stories like you're doing? Thank you.
It's a very good question.
Story. Once upon a time. You hear that one, Abi? All of us are storyteller. Okay, colored boy. Question. I'm just playing with you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Colored Boy. Thanks sir, for the presentation. Although I joined in late, but I'm glad I was able to attend this presentation. I observed something about the color applications for your color grading for every slide that I came across. I want to see, is there anything specific or unique about your color grading process, or is it a part of your storytelling process as well? When you receive a project, do you still use colors as a means of visual storytelling? But I've seen the uniqueness in everything I've seen here today. That's just my question. Thanks.
The last one for now.
Uncle Sodiq, it's an honor to also meet you here again. So my question is on access. Before now, I said it yesterday, count your nose. But sometimes some projects are time bound. You have a specific time, but you're not getting access. And I've known you to be one rugged person that when people don't have access, you always by chance have the access. Please give us one or two briefs on how you do it. Thank you.
Okay.
Now you have the conversation.
Yeah, let me just start with the question, then I go around like that. So about the access, it's my own. Is it a hack? I have a hack for that. See, in life, I learned from my dad very early that people will not give you access. I learned from him that even if you can't take a bone from a dog. You have to find a way to get the bone out of the dog. That's one of the things I learned. So for me, it's a hack. What I usually do is that I usually have a plan A to plan D. 4 plans. So if plan A doesn't work through, I go to plan B, and I'm going to explain everything. So if plan B doesn't work out, I go to C and D. But if D doesn't work out, then I'm going to get it just the way it is. Now, there was one time there's a plane crash at Iju Shaga, the Dana plane crash. I received a call from my editor in France that I have to photograph it. That it's very urgent, and I actually stay in Ogba then, so in Lagos. So I was asleep that Sunday afternoon. Even my friends because they know that I'm a photographer and they know I tell stories about breaking news and all of that. Then, so they've actually been. I locked the doors. They've been knocking, but I don't know why I slept that afternoon. So the call came in and this and all of that. I have to just jump on bike to get to the place. Luckily for me, when I got there, the place is filled up. So many military vehicles. The road have been cordoned off, and nobody's giving access. And one thing about breaking news is that the first set of pictures that come out are the most important pictures, irrespective of whether it's from someone who is passing by or it's from an amateur. The first images are the images that tell the story for that moment. And when you go on Google search, the SEO will bring that image out as the first image. So when I got there, I realized that everything has been cordoned off and I can't get access into the place. And I said to myself, I look at the military, I look at the gun, I said, I must get here. What am I going to do? Okay. So I put my camera in everything I put it in my bag, everything like that. And I told the military man, because there are layers of security, I told the military man that I have to go inside. It was like, I said, I have to go there. Somebody's there, I have to go there. And he's like, who are you? I said, I changed my mood in such a way that he doesn't even know whether I'm a victim or the person is my brother. But do you know one thing? One thing is that whatever you are afraid of is also afraid of you. What you are afraid of, the thing is also afraid of you. You can, for example, you come out in the midnight and somebody sees you around 1 a.m. The person will pass by you and this one too. The person cannot come and attack you. I can tell you that. So that day, the hack was that I used my fear to face my fear. Okay, the fear is the soldier. So what if I now make you guys, oh, I'm bigger than the soldier. So I was adamant. The soldier was expecting everybody to behave, and everybody behaved. Now I did something unruly, like, what if I try my luck? So the soldier was like, the reason why I was fearless. I said, I have to go there. I have to go there. I have to go there now. I have to go there. I was just, everything he's saying, I'm just saying I have to go there. He's like, this one is a madman. He said, just go. So I passed the first layer. The second layer is the forensic guy. But one thing you have to know is that whatever is happening, like I said earlier, we are witness of the human race. Whatever is happening, whether there is a forensic team there, you have to photograph everything. Because people are not there. They're going to switch on the TV in the night, get their papers in the morning. They want to see how everything went. And like I said, it's the privileged position. You have to get that story. So I get to the next. They said, you can't be here. I said, no, I know that I can't be here, but I have to be here. I have to be here. I have to tell the stories. I have to tell what you are doing. Otherwise, you are not also safe. They can lie that you are the one that planned it. Or when I started saying all of this, the person was like, just go. So all of these layers, I was just trying my luck. The thing is that I don't even know all these things. I don't plan it from home. But I must find something in my head to tell the person. You have to agree. You must agree. And I will just stay there and make sure that you agree, because it's natural for me. So once those things comes, the last one was just like, I have to get access to the main place where there's the black boss. And the layer of security there is even more than the soldier with the gun. It's a special investigation team, and it's cordoned by dog and all of that. So I started off by photographing the dogs. I finding my way all around, looking at how the area is. So I get to meet someone who knows the area very well. He was telling me, just pass through a road. And God so blessed me. That is why God created my station. I'm happy. That day, if I had been bigger than this, I would not get the story done. The space that was left for me to pass, I was the only one that could pass that space. Imagine if I had been bigger, I would not get access. So you see, don't abuse God about your. No, there's a bigger road. There's a bigger way for you, not for me. People like me. So that was how I was able to get there. So when I eventually get the story and I was looking at it, they have to publish it. And somebody who was also there was like, how did I get to that? As I said, it was meant for only me. Forget about that. So that was how I was able to get through the layers. So you see, one thing about all these things, and I'm going to give you the second example about all these assets you are talking about, is the fact that wherever I go, I try to leave my footprint there. I try to make friends. You see, one thing about me is that you not even know that I know some things, but I'll just be very covert about it. Like, I won't even make noise. So what I do is that if an information pops up about something that's going to happen, and I know that there's not going to be access, or access will be limited to certain people, I'm already making calls to those people that know someone who knows the people that are organizing the thing. So once I make the call and they're like, I'm like, okay. One of the thing I'll just give them is, you need pictures for this thing. I will give you pictures. Let me come there, because if you don't get the pictures, you will not do it. It will not be okay. What if somebody photographed the event badly? Say, you're right. Yeah, I'll give you a tag. No matter how it is, I'll get the tag, because I'm also giving something back. So is it tick for tact? You have to, at some point, you have to also give something back to get what you want. If it's even 5 image or 4 image, give it back to them to encourage them so that they can use it on their website. But you know what you need that access for. So nothing goes for nothing. Another thing is that for me to get access to some places, is the fact that I try to put my ears on the ground, in the sense that some people who are in each ministry have relatives that have their people that are going to come around to do the sweeping a day before. So what I usually do is I go there a day before and familiarize myself with the environment. So even, for example, that day, the event is happening tomorrow, I'm there today. And the day before, there is not strict whatever you call it. They are not strict with you. They are just free. And you see, I'm making friends with everybody. What's your name, sir? Mr. Jude. What's your name, sir? My name is Sodiq. So I'm not calling you by the name, Mr. Jude. They have not done this. You think I'm part of the team, but I'm not. So the next day you see me, Mr. Jude. So, well done for yesterday. So the person at the game was like, he's not even asking me whether I'm invited. I'm not invited. By the time I mentioned 3 persons' name, that is my access to the place. You're like, this one is part of them. I better let him go. You see, he's a hack. So you do the sweeping a day before and you get access to the next place. That's how I do most of the times. Sometimes I don't have tag. It's that thing that I done. It's the hack. So you should learn that. I will not show you everything so that you don't go and copy me. Anyway, back to the question of the color grading. Sadly, for you to know, I don't color grade. I don't even know how to use the color grading thing. I try my possible best because I learned with film. And I will tell you, for my dad, it's my lunch money that I usually used to buy film. So I must get everything right. If you don't get it right, no lunch for you. Sometimes you don't even get to eat dinner. So the money I used to buy film are some of the money I made for my dad's studio. So I try to get everything right. No pictures are perfect. If I'm to do editing, it's cropping, probably a little bit of brightness. I don't even color grade. Because what this does is that for many of the agencies, they don't want you to color grade, just photograph it the way it is because of their clients. I'll give you an example. If you are photographing a festival or an event and the event has a symbol of let's say white is the color, and you photograph, maybe let's say the Osun Shogbo, and when you are color grading, maybe at the background there is purple, and you start color grading and the white start turning to another color. And maybe the white is the symbol of that festival. Automatically you've turned it to purple festival. So you've changed the narrative of the people because you want to color grade. So you can see in photojournalism, because of the rules and regulations that guides photojournalism, you have learned to be disciplined with the way you take your pictures. And I will tell you one thing. For the sake of judicial processes and some other things, verification processes, never you tamper with your image or delete any image. It is very important. There are some awards that they do in Nigeria, in the world today, that you can be disqualified if you cannot provide the access file of those series of images you take. For example, I take a picture now and I take about 20 exposures. If out of the 20 exposures, exposure number 11 is the one that is the winning image, the judicial or the ethics and verification team want to know what happened before 5 images before that image and the 5 images after the image. Do you know why? Because they want to be sure it's not a made-up image. It's not doctored and it's not made up. Some people made up images. They say, go and jump, so that I'll be able to capture it. And from, pictures like the series, you think you are smart, but from the series, if you jump, the people who do the verification will know that you've tampered with it. And also, for judicial, I have helped a lawyer win a case because someone thought that the image that they submitted is fake. So he now called, the lawyer friend called me and said, Sodiq, I'm in a big trouble. The photo you sent, how are we going to defend it? Because now the guy is saying, I said, no, don't worry yourself. That is where I come in. That is why I'm a photographer and a lawyer. So I'll do my bit and you do your bit. Just let me be at the court in the courtroom. So on the day of the final judgment, and they're doing the verification, like a day before the judgment, they're going to do the verification. So I brought in the file on my hard drive, and it's numbered. And I brought in my own verification app to show the number and timing of how the images were. Because when you take an image and it's showing, maybe for example, you take it from 11 and it's showing 11:01 with the seconds, 11:01, 34 seconds. It's showing the numbers are there timed, so it's easy for people to see that image is timed. The rhythm, yes, the sequence of that. So I showed the judge the sequence in the courtroom, saw everything, how everything went, and they have their own forensic team. They look at it also, and they don't have any option than for the guy to win the case. So the guy won the case, and for the first time in his life, he was like, wow, I didn't know that photographers are this brilliant. I said, yes, it's our own hack. We won't tell you everything. So that is that. Um, to you, the first question that we were asked about, yes, the people. How do you get to? Can you remind me? How do you get to photograph? Sorry,
How do you begin the journey into photographing events like this?
John, right? Yeah. So I for someone like I can remember now. There's a friend of mine, not like a friend, but it's also a friend. I don't see people who are photographers, people that are younger than me. I don't see them like a younger person. I see them as friends and colleagues. So there is a colleague of mine who's actually also a friend, and she studied medicine in school, and she noticed that anytime they are in the field, her mind is carried away by storytelling. She always remembered all the process of the surgery they are doing in the theater. And when she's telling me all of those things, and she'll be like, I can visually understand and picture everything she's saying. And I just told her one day that, see, you're a photographer. She's like, what is that? I said, you are. You know that I wasn't in that theater, but the way you explain it, you are a storyteller. You've given the visual representation of what happened from A to Z. I think that you'll be good in storytelling. I'm not saying you should stop what you're doing, but you've always asked me that what other alternatives do I have to make ends meet and to be good to help myself. And she started by owning a pet camera given to her by her uncle. Then she started with the photography thing and she sees everything. One day she said, what next? I'm not photographing things and it's not working. What is all this thing? It's very boring. And I told her, see, you've not actually not carved a niche for yourself. You should see yourself as a doctor. Now you are a doctor with an experience in photography. You've not added that to it. So you started taking the camera to walk to photograph the process and started using those pictures to to explain to medical students who are in the early careers. Medical students who are in the early careers, some of them do not have access to that theater room. She could use her pictures to explain to those students, or even I can remember it's during the COVID time. So she used those pictures for several students in the virtual class, and it's as if, and because she has done it before, she has done all those projects before. It was that COVID that actually boosted her career, and she made a lot of money while everybody is complaining. She's in her room using those pictures as her own tool to communicate to the world why the world is locked down. You can see opportunities are always waiting for you if you can just try and apply all of those things. So you can do so much more. For me, it wasn't like that. For me, I have to try and try and try and try. But I asked myself that if I don't try, what's the worst thing that could happen? And if I try, what is the best thing that can happen? So it's the question you have to ask yourself.
Thank you, Sodiq. I think he has answered the question and added to it. Like Bernard Kalu will say, the street is always smiling. It's just for you to smile back at the street. And we also always say that if you can see the image, photograph it. So we are all storytellers, and I can give you an assignment now. Where do you live? Where did you come? How did you come to this place? Where did you pass? And what did you see on the airport road? So by the time, are you seeing the process? You left home, you drove past the place, you saw a woman selling a car, you drove past the place, you saw a signpost that interested you, you drove past the place, you saw one person shouting on the road on the traffic warden, you drove past the place, view that chronology, you have a story. You can start from there. Thank you very much, Sadiq.
Like to also add to it,
Yeah,
you can see the story, but the story can also see you.
exactly.
But you don't know until you try.
They don't know. Thank you, Sadiq. My hands in the air. Thanks a lot.